Okay, so I had a phone call and I didn't realize it just totally erased probably what I just said. And it was pretty good stuff too. Damn it. Hang on. So, there. So we're talking about bullying today, and the quick version of what I said earlier will be compiled right now. Basically, I'm saying, teachers, I know it's not an easy job reaching out to kids, especially these days when they're always distracted about everything. Well, they're sensing and dealing with everything. Everything is new to them. I'm not excusing for bad behavior. God, no. I'm not. Well, what are you going to do with a kid that wants to misbehave and be terrible to other kids? Talk to the parents. And if the parents don't do anything about it, then you just exclude that kid. Because, they do it for attention mostly. And as a teacher, kids look up to you. Even though they don't, you wouldn't think it. Kids look up to you. They're learning from you. They're watching you. You are actually a role model because you get the kids at least, 8 hours a day or so? I'm rounding. 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday. You're the one person that they spend most time with, other than their parents. And even then, most kids spend more time with their nannies or babysitters, or grandparents, or whoever's watching them. When a kid comes to you about bullying, it is your duty to address it. Not just only address it, to the kid, to the kid that's doing it, but the best and most effective way is to make an example out of it. I'm not saying shame the victim. I'm saying talk about bullying. Give these kids a chance to speak up in front of everyone about that they're not alone. Like, hey, has anyone ever felt this way? Has anyone ever made you feel that way, this way, this way? Like, and I didn't know depression until I was 12. I know it's a little young. But nowadays, you got kids talking about suicide, and you got kids talking about depression, and they get themselves so upset that they throw up before school because they don't want to deal with the crap that these other kids are dealing out. It's unexcusable. Kids shouldn't have to deal with things like depression. There's other things these kids are going through. Some kids have lost somebody. Some kids, they worry about adult things. When I was a kid, I worried about having enough money for, certain things. Because I would overhear my parents talk about bills. At a young age, our ears are very open because we're always learning. The moment we're awake, heck, sometimes even when we're sleeping, we're learning. But bottom line is, as a parent, it is your sole responsibility to make sure your kid is not hurting anybody, as well as knowing if they're being hurt. Whether it be mental, emotional, physical. Some of the stuff that's being tolerated in schools, I'm appalled. I complained until something was done about it when I was a kid. And even then, teachers didn't do anything. There was only a few that did. Now, I understand it's hard to separate kids, because if there's one kid that just wants to pick on a person, they're going to do it come hell or high water. But when a kid stands up to themselves, do not reprimand them. Do not reprimand them. It wouldn't hurt you to ask why. Why did this kid snap at this kid? Why did this kid punch this kid? These are pivotal moments where you can teach that child, both of these children, about cause and effect. And teach them about the multitudes of abuse. Because, believe it or not, I know it's a shocker, but kids can abuse kids badly. I've heard horror stories from teachers where kids would abuse other kids emotionally, verbally, mentally, physically, and even the S word, sexually. Because they just felt like doing it. We live in a society where we can make a difference, especially with the kids. And a lot of things are tolerated when we should not be tolerating it. You got kids stealing from other kids because they can't help themselves. Can't help themselves. Either that, they're told it's okay. When I was younger, I had a friend, I had a few friends that worked in mall security, and they would tell me the stories, man, that the kids' parents would put them up to stealing because, they're not gonna bother with a kid stealing something. Yeah. I had a kid when I worked on a kiosk steal a coin purse, and parents ignored me and said, "Excuse me? Hello?" And they said, "You're not going to do shit about it." I'm like, called security. They just let their kid steal a coin purse. Give it back. "Oh, I didn't know." You did know. Now the saying, if you make an impression on a child, it echoes throughout their life. It's up to you to make sure it's either a good one or a bad one. As I know it's not easy being a teacher, and I really get it. I do. And I know you all are tired. If you're a teacher watching this, I know y'all are tired. I know sometimes your job seems pointless. I know sometimes you feel like you're just talking to the wall. But believe it or not, I can honestly vouch for this. Those kids are paying attention in their own way. Just because they're not uniformly making eye contact or writing notes. Believe it or not, you are making an impression, and you do matter, and you can change those children's lives. Now, the best method of dealing with bullies when it comes to that, listen to the poor kid when they come to you and say, so-and-so took this, or they're saying this, or they make me feel that way. Be observant. Dare to be empathetic. Dare to be empathetic. I know it's a lot, and their juju is chaotic. They're kids. They're growing right before your very eyes. Every day they're different. Every second they're different. It takes anything to change them. Truthfully. Pardon me. But it's just I know it's not easy. I have an older sister who's a 5th grade teacher, and she told me what it was like dealing with elementary school, and now she's dealing with middle schoolers. And she's good. If she can handle growing up with me, you know she can handle those kids. So when a kid comes to you, or if you, it wouldn't hurt you to ask if a kid is okay, if they seem off. And, you know, the best way, you know, every now and then, at least once or every 2 weeks, just reassess how everyone's getting along. And basically, you're going to want to just have a moment with class and just tell them, you know, bullying is a terrible crime. And nowadays, it is. I understand that, you know, the school boards and all that have a 0 bullying tolerance. But nothing's really being done about it. I mean, you look on the news, you see kids at age 12 trying to hurt themselves because they are so done with kids. Teach those kids to cope. Teach those kids the reality of why people treat other people like garbage. Because their life and their feelings and their thoughts and their minds are so unpleasant that it oozes out on other people. I have been bullied, God, ever since I can ever remember being in any kind of social setting. From being a toddler in church and pre-K and daycare. I've been picked on ever since then, and it didn't stop until I want to say a couple years ago. I stopped tolerating it. Even at my job, not this one, but when I used to work at Walmart, I was bullied and picked on. I had my lunchbox stolen, my food stolen, my purse was rifled through. I had someone put trash in my locker. We're talking about being an adult and working at Walmart when I used to work at Walmart. I mean, I even had somebody dent my car. You know, it just, you know, I just learned how to deal with it. But, you know, let's be honest, nobody should have to deal with that. Especially when they're an adult, because as adults, we should know better. We need more people to learn how to cope, and more people realizing they can do a lot of damage with their words and their actions. It's fun to people picking on other people. I mean, let's be honest, it's fun to some people. And it makes them feel better because they're miserable and now they've made someone else miserable. So there's power in that. Ooh, I made them miserable. I feel better about myself because I made someone feel a certain way. When I was getting married, the whole planning process, I pretty much made it very clear that no one was going to make me feel like crap because I was going to marry someone that I was in love with. I was going to do something amazing for me and one other person. It was going to be how I wanted it, when I wanted it, and the way I wanted it. Even though people have tried to sabotage the cake and all that good guess what? They didn't. They didn't. I was not going to let them do that. Even though they tried. Yeah. And the person that bullied me was like, you didn't ask me to do your cake. I'm like, nope. Good reason, too. Number one, you know my sister. Number two, you've had nothing nice to say about, that. And I didn't want any reason for you to do anything that I didn't want you to do to it. And I didn't want to cause any more animosity between me and my sister. So, my decision. Anyhow, we have to sit down and just talk to these kids, to people. When people used to bully me when I was an adult, I would ask them, I'm like, why do you do this? What have I done? And if they didn't have a valid reason, I'm just like, I would just combat it with positivity. Shut the hell up. I don't want to hear from you. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry you feel that way. And their reply was, ah! I'm like, nobody's that nice. Nobody's that good. And I'm just like, I want to be. We can be the change we wish to see in the world. We just gotta do it and commit to it. It's not fair to these kids that they deal with this. 9 times out of 10, it's because the parents portray themselves as that way, and the kids mimic that. Other things is the kid just doesn't know how to handle themselves, so they gotta get a reality check. There was a kid that I used to babysit who was very mean and hateful, and I turned around and just repeated everything they said, and they hated it. And I said, you don't like people saying these things to you, do you? Well, no. I said, listen to yourself. If you don't want to feel like bad and hurt and upset, then don't cause it for other people. Treat other people how you want to be treated. If you don't want people to make you feel like crap, don't make people feel like crap. You don't have to say anything if you got nothing nice to say. Period. You know what? That kid was a little gentleman before I was done with him. Made him a bowl of mac and cheese. You're so stupid, you forgot to put real cheese in it. I'm like, number one, this is what's in the box. Number two, you said mac and cheese. I made it. I didn't have to make a special cuisine for you. And number three, should I repeat what you just said to me? What? You just called me stupid. You're stupid too for saying that I'm stupid. Ah! You don't like it? Don't say it. So, Well, with that being said, the best way in a classroom setting to deal with bullying is to take a moment and just say, just ask them, does anyone here know about bullying and what it is? What is bullying? You know, it wouldn't hurt just to teach them on that. Those lessons are worth a lifetime. What is bullying? Is it good or is it bad? What do you do when you're bullied? What should you do if you are urged to bully somebody? Teach these kids how to conduct themselves and handle themselves and control their emotions. Teach these kids how to conduct themselves like human beings, not raging lunatics. Capital idea. So, teachers, you have my full support. Go forth and bless you. And don't worry, you guys are making a difference in these children's lives. You are their role model, believe it or not, and they just don't even know it yet. Love and light to you all, and I hope we all have a really good day today, and be safe out there, because everyone's out getting ready to go to their families for Thanksgiving. So, bye.